Hey all. So this week we're recording a video about our visions, taking time, a couple hours to think about our script. And the funny thing is that all of my scripts have existed in my mind way before I've ever put pen to paper or even outlined anything. That's just the way I've always worked. I actually read somewhere where most of the work is just thinking, like we're supposed to do in this module with this video with regarding our visions. I tend to do that way before the project. You get an idea, you let it kick around in your head for a little bit, and it starts to take on a life of its own. And that's what happened with Crisis. Initially, it started nothing like it is now, and I am totally convinced that it's not going to be anything like it is now either. Once it's presented, I know I have a lot of work to do on this script, even after it's turned in. I spoke to Matt about this in great length, and initially I didn't want to write a pilot that was a premise pilot, meaning an origin story. I wanted to get right into the middle of the action with it. If you remember the textbook that we read about writing for the TV, it said there's two ways to go. One is the premise pilot, and the other is getting right into the action with it, and that's what I chose to do. And I think that may have been a mistake on my part. I think my pilot episode, and again based on my conversations with Matt, may be more of a second or third episode. But again, it's kind of you're in for a half, you're in for a whole now. So we agreed I'm going to stick with that where I'm at. But chances are 99% that I will go back and recreate a pilot episode that is a premise pilot. Now, that being said, I think about the story literally every day as I'm driving to work. I have a heck of a drive from where I'm at to get to work. It's about 70 miles, but it takes forever with DC traffic. But with that being said, it's always on my mind. And you think about casting, and you think about the story, and you think about the characters, and you think about future arcs for the characters, and new characters to keep the engine going. And if anyone has noticed, I've added new characters to this since last semester. I've changed a lot around, and yeah, I have some ideas on ideal casting for it. As far as Gordon, the protagonist goes, for some reason I have the fella Jonathan Rhys, I believe is his name, from The Americans in my head, but that might just be because I love that show so much, and I think that I'm going for that feel. So that's probably not the right way to go. Maybe I've also considered a younger William H. Macy type, because in Fargo he was so pitiful, and I want my character to be weak like that as well. It's hard casting too. I mean, as far as an interesting thing is the character of Amy, and I've said this before. She's taken on such a huge role, a life of her own that I did not expect when I started this. I think her casting will be crucial. And I've introduced this new character of Doug, who works at the electrical supply company, who is looking for the Christmas bonus early and has no respect for Gordon as the boss. And for some reason, I would love to see Danny McBride play that role in a serious role. And if you don't know who Danny McBride is, he's the fellow that played Kenny Powers in Eastbound and Down, who is hilarious. He's in a lot of those Seth Rogen movies too. But I think he's an incredible actor. I've seen him do some dramatic turns, not overly dramatic, but I think he was kind of my inspiration for that character. That's who I'm envisioning as I wrote it, and as I will go through and rewrite it. But yeah, I think it's important to, like Matt said, take time out and to think about your project and to think about your story and your characters and the trailer moments and the highlights of it, the highlight reel, the web gems as they call it on ESPN. But again, I think a lot of it is done prior to writing. At least that's how I do it. And it just consistently stays. And the more you think about it, the more you want to jump back in front of the computer and revise and revise. And I'm sure that that's what I'll be doing here once this draft is turned in well after graduation. Thanks.